Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host Jeffrey Lazarus, and you are watching Welcome to Bioshock Infinite on the Gaming Vector. Bioshock Infinite is the third game in the Bioshock franchise, developed by Irrational Games and published by 2K. So let's go ahead and see what the game offers up here. Now, as you can see, our main title screen, you can view the credits. There is the Season Pass for upcoming DLC content. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the options screen here. So as you can see, you've got your graphical options. You can configure your visual margins. You can lock the frame rate. You can add subtitles, enemy health bars, so on and so forth. Your basic audio options. We're going to go ahead and turn subtitles on for your convenience. Your gameplay options, so floating combat text, adaptive training. We're going to go ahead and turn this off. We don't need the tutorials popping up in the middle of the video. The skyline control panel and the HUD markers. We're going to go ahead and save the changes, back out. Also, we have controller settings, so you can change your controller layout. You can invert look, control the look sensitivity. I'd turn this down just a little bit. And let's go ahead and get into some gameplay here. So, I've played about 7 hours of the game. We're actually going to load up a little bit earlier chapter, so we can show off some of the combat without getting into any spoilers. So once the game loads, we're going to talk about a few of the minor issues with the console version of this game that don't seem to be present on the PC version from what I've seen. And we're also going to talk about the combat system and some of the changes that have been made from the original Bioshock to Bioshock Infinite. So as you can see, here's me, here's Elizabeth, and these are tears. These are new things that were added. By holding X, I can have Elizabeth tear open reality and pull in a sniper rifle, for instance. Use right bumper to swap weapon and pick up the sniper rifle. As you can see, you can actually aim down sights now. That was not something you could do in the other games. You can even do so with a shotgun. I don't know why you would want to. As you can see in the bottom left, I have my vigors. So for instance, bucking Bronco, I can launch an enemy into the air, use that time to close the distance and bring the shotgun down on him. There I can have her bring in a mosquito gunship that will rain down machine gun fire on my enemies. Once again, lift him into the air, take him out with a melee attack. I'm going to swap over to the Devil's Kiss Vigor. And we'll show that one off now. This one, I can throw fireballs, so throw a fireball in there. It's essentially a grenade. It somewhat negates the need for heavy weapons such as RPGs and whatnot. Those still exist in the game, but they're not as needed. Now, as you can see here, I can pick up these coins. I can hold down X here, and Elizabeth throws me some coins that she found. Now, she does that out of combat, but she also does it in combat with salts, which power your vigors, as well as with health items and ammunition. So it gets rid of some of the problems with searching for items during combat. Like, you run out of ammunition, you desperately need a few more shots, and a lot of times, from what I've seen, she'll simply throw you the ammunition you need. So we're going to head back up here. We will have her bring these sniper rifles in again.
Do it now.
So that I can get a little bit more ammunition here. Go ahead and reload the weapon using X. Now, this was something that I was very, very worried about with this game versus the original, was the limited weapon selection, only having 2 at a time, versus the original Bioshock allowed you to have, I believe, 8, possibly 10 weapons. I was worried that we would see things like that sniper rifle cache laying everywhere. Weapon that you're going to need for the next upcoming area, like a rocket launcher, for instance. But that doesn't seem to be a problem, because as you could see during that last combat segment, the sniper rifle, while it's here and would have been useful for staying up here and picking off the enemies, swapping over to the shotgun and combining with my plasmids, or vigors in this case, was still a viable option. So, let's talk about some of the console-specific issues. Number one, while the game as a whole looks gorgeous, the textures are very flat and muddy. From what I have seen and heard, this doesn't seem to be as much of an issue on the PC version. So if you're worried about graphical fidelity, I would pick up the PC version. If not, the console versions are fine. There's also a little bit of frame rate drop from time to time. It's very rare and almost never breaks the gameplay.
There.
Okay.
Go ahead and have her bring that in again, just because we can. Now, the other issue with the console version versus the PC version is the vigors. So as you can see in the bottom left, I've got the 2 that I can swap between using left bumper. If I hold down the left bumper, it brings up this wheel, pauses the action in the game, and allows me to swap to a different one. So now I have the Shock Jockey Vigor equipped, which I can then use to power this up. The issue with this is that on the PC, I would assume you'll have enough hotkeys on your keyboard to be able to have all of the vigors up and usable at any point, whereas on the console version, you're a little bit hamstrung by the fact that in order to swap and get the combination you need, sometimes you'll have to pause the game, essentially, which kind of breaks the flow of combat. So you can see here, picking up some money and whatnot. Now this here, sardines, these are one of the many, many health items in the game. There are items that restore health and items that restore your salts, which allow you to power your vigors. Sometimes you'll have items where you'll have a plus to health but a negative to salts, or vice versa. So you actually do need to be a little bit wary of what you pick up so that you don't end up, say, draining your health just to get some extra salt when you don't really need it. Also up here we have lockpicks. Elizabeth can pick locks on doors for you, so you'll want to collect as many of those as possible. She'll also be able to open safes and whatnot. There you see she found another coin for us, so a little bit more cash. Now this here is a gear item. We're going to go ahead and pick this up, and we're going to go ahead and take it, and while we're up here, we will hit the back button and open up our menu. As you can see, you've got your objectives, you've got your voxophones. These are basically audio diaries. You can go back and listen to them at any time. You'll find them throughout the game. Here we can see the vigors that we have equipped, and as you can see, they're all upgradable. For instance, possession. The possession aid allows you to possess humans who will suicide when the effect expires. The Devil's Kiss aid adds mini clusters to the fire grenade that you throw. These are prohibitively expensive. I think the cheapest one I've seen was around $600, and I only have, I think, 1,000 or 1,100 right now. Alternatively, you can also upgrade your weapons. As you can see, I've got damage boost on the machine gun, increases damage by 25%. So this somewhat encourages you to pick 2 or 3 weapons that you're really a fan of and kind of stick with those. Now, I've been skipping most of the weapon upgrades because I kind of want to use all of the weapons and to see how they all work. Now, let's get to the gear upgrades. So these are equipable items. You have 4 slots, basically head, body, legs, and boots. I don't have anything in the leg slot, or I'm sorry, in the boot slot right now. But as you can see here, we'll go in here to the hat slot, and Burning Halo hat, 70% chance that a melee target is set ablaze, or alternatively, I could take Hill Runner's hat, which increases movement speed when my shield breaks, so that if my shield breaks, I can get out of combat and into cover a little bit quicker. And same thing for all of these slots. Most of these that I've found have been in kind of hidden areas, so it does pay off to explore the game, and that's really where a lot of your playtime is going to go. So while we're talking about the weapon upgrades and the vigor upgrades, let's go check out a vending machine. I know there's one down here around the corner. And once we get across this bridge here, this, I believe, is not actually an upgrade machine, but this will give you the basic idea. So this machine allows you to buy health kits, refill your salts, which we are going to do. And it's an instant effect. These aren't items that you carry with you and then use later on. This also allows you to refill your ammo if needed. The weapon and vigor upgrades are also contained in similar style machines. They're scattered all over the world. They're very, very difficult to miss. And the last bit of combat we wanted to show you was the skylines. So as you can see here, when I look up at the skyline, it's got an arrow telling me which way I'm going to go, highlights it in green, and I can press A to attach to it. There are also controls for while you're on the skyline. You can speed up, slow down, reverse direction. So let's go ahead and attach to this one here. Now I can press B to switch direction. I can press A to dismount from it. Also, if you're targeting an enemy, you can press A and drop on the enemy. There's some salts hidden over here. Probably shouldn't have paid for the ones earlier. That's why exploration is important in this game. And you can move about the skylines in combat to create some very dynamic scenarios. So let's see what happens when we combine everything together. So we'll hop onto the skyline here. We've got our shotgun out. We can see down there's a motorized patriot. We'll bring him in. Now we'll slide back up this skyline, speed up a bit, do a skyline strike and take him out, and now we're right back in the heat of combat. Lift him up, and then go back to the skyline. The motorized patriot's down there doing its thing. Now, as you've noticed, or as you've hopefully noticed, I haven't really had to protect Elizabeth during any of these combat sequences. And that's because she is a very self-sustaining character. It's not necessary to protect her. And in all honesty, she's actually does a better job of protecting you by throwing you items during these fights. As you can see, we've dealt with most of these guys. We're going to go ahead and hop back up onto this skyline here. And back up our motorized patriot friend. As you can see, that guy dropped a lockbox. This is the same as looting their corpses. You can see there's an RPG to pick up. We'll go ahead and pick that up and fire it off a few times to show it off. Every weapon does allow you to aim down the sights. And as you can see over here, we can have her bring some medical kits in. Now by doing that, the motorized patriot has now disappeared. We will swap back to our shotgun here and continue on. So, very fast, fluid combat, a lot of fun, a fantastic looking game. what else is there really to say about this game? So, when it comes right down to it, final verdict for Bioshock Infinite is essentially, if you haven't already picked it up, go pick it up. Buy this game. It is fantastic. Everything about it, from the graphics to the combat to the storyline. I have yet to be disappointed by this title. There you can see Elizabeth throwing us some salts. So as I say, final verdict, buy the game. Play it. Bioshock Infinite is fantastic.
They're all gone. Come on out.
That's it for today. I have been your host, Jeffrey Lazarus, and thank you for watching The Gaming Vector.